Yeah, that sounded good. Welcome, everybody, to another new episode of the Gaming and Drinking Cast. We are back. It's been a little while, but we're gonna get back on a regular cadence. I think both of us are settled into our new PCs, new equipment, and stuff like that. So we're gonna give this thing the proper respect it deserves.
Oh yeah.
So, we have both been doing a lot, new jobs, all that good stuff. But I think,
and if you are, wait, real quick, if you are just now joining us, I'm Adam Gogan and that's Travis Casey.
That's a good point. Yeah. Yes.
Cheers.
We are the hosts of this program. We both work. If you are just joining us for the first time, we both work in the beer industry. Adam works for Distro. I work for a brewery. And we are combining our love of video games and beer into gaming and drinking. Look at that. Look at the
Friday. This is what we're doing on a Friday.
Mm-hmm.
Gaming and drinking. Dude, look at this bad boy. just pitch black.
What you got there?
So I'm doing a little experiment this week.
Okay.
I've heard a lot of hubbub about the old Bourbon County stout from Goose Island and how, like, if you age it for several years, it'll start to taste better. It'll start to develop more. Yep. So I went and bought a couple different ones that I'm going to be drinking tonight.
Okay.
I got one from 2018 and one from 2020. Okay. This one is from 2018. Yeah, so if you're not familiar, this is the bottle. It's really cool.
It's got the written date on the label.
Yeah, it's got the 2018 here on the label. And then also, this is just a really famous. I think they were the first ones to do a bourbon barrel stout.
If not the first ones, then definitely the first ones to popularize it.
Yeah, and now like every brewery seems like does a bourbon stout. And they are good. And this one actually is damn good. I'm not going to lie. So this one, the ABV on it is 15.2% as of 2018.
And if you've ever tuned into our cast before, then you know that this is going to be a fun one then.
So 15.2. And so now I'd say it's probably closer to like 16 and a half if it's been sitting there for 4 years.
Definitely.
So yeah, it's a nice full pint. It's
a nice glass.
Size of my head. Yeah, the glass is from Moon River Brewery down in Savannah.
Nice.
But yeah, definitely got some chocolate notes on there. Cocoa
nibs.
Very, very velvety.
Nice.
Barely, awesome. You can barely taste that bourbon in there too. That is it's not very boozy for being what it is.
Yeah, that's good. You don't really, I feel like with the bourbon barrel, it goes one of two ways. It's either subtle, and I like that, or it's like super malty and overpowering, and like the bourbon barrel flavor overtakes the flavor of the actual beer, which I'm not a fan of,
Yeah. This is definitely tastes more like a dessert beer than like a regular bourbon stout.
Almost like a pastry stout.
Mm-hmm.
Sweet. Yeah, I'm a big fan of Bourbon County. I'm not a huge Goose Island guy, especially since the AB buyout, but I think that beer is still consistently good. And it's still one of the ones that they brew at the original brewery still. I think that was true as of a couple of years ago. Maybe that's changed in the last few years, but because it's everywhere now when they release it. But it was true up to a few years ago. So
what you got?
So I have one. This is from my brewery, the one that I work for and represent, New Sarum. I wish we could reverse that. It's called Pretty Hate Potion, which is a sour. It's named after the Nine Inch Nails album Pretty Hate Machine, which is one of my favorite records. I have the record over there actually. And this is a sour ale brewed with Japanese butterfly pea flower and dry hopped with cryo citra, cryo mosaic, and cryo eucalyptus hops.
What the hell is cryo?
That is a great question. I have
just like freeze dried hops.
I don't know if it's freeze dried or if they're cultivated with cryo technology. That would be my assumption. The guys at the brewery are just mad geniuses. You can't really tell on camera. It almost looks black.
Is it purple?
It's a nice purple. Yeah, let's see that lighting. It's a nice purple color. It's almost the color of Kool-Aid.
Purple. Drinking that purple drink tonight.
Got that purple drink. It's really
That
low
purple.
APV. It's only 5%. So
okay. So we'll be on two different wavelengths here in a little bit.
my next one is definitely a step up. So the next one I bought just as like a surprise for you.
Don't tell me yet.
I'm not, but
surprise me.
It's fun.
Okay.
So we're gonna do the usual format. If you've ever been here, we do what you've been playing and then a rundown of the news. But I think because of what's going on in the video game industry, let's start with the news, because we had since the last time we recorded, there's been a lot of news. Of course, it's been a while, but basically this big thing has been going on in gaming and the business side of gaming, which is a ton of acquisitions. There have been acquisitions all over the board. It kind of started a year and a half ago with Bethesda being acquired by Microsoft. Insomniac got acquired by Sony, which was kind of already a thing because they were like second party basically. And the bombshell megaton announcement, the biggest video game news I can remember in my entire life, where I've had people outside of like people that actually talk about video games with me texting me and asking me about stuff.
I was talking to my dad about that.
Isn't that crazy? Like that's nuts. And what we were talking about, of course, is the Microsoft acquisition of Activision Blizzard.
68 billion with a B.
That's a B, not an M, a B. I like that old Austin Powers joke of 1 million versus 1 billion.
Yeah,
it's just dwarfed by this now. Like it just makes that look like even more of a toothy joke, you know? Like the idea of, okay, so to put this in perspective, and I know everyone's talked about it this way, but this really is a big way to look at it. The Marvel and if you combine both the Marvel and the Star Wars purchase for Disney, both of those purchases combined were $8 billion.
Really?
Yeah, it's $4 billion for each one.
Wow.
So, and granted, that was 10 years ago, over 10 years ago at this point, and money's worth a little bit less now. So, of course, the billions have gone up, but that's still a wide margin for two of the biggest properties, Marvel being the biggest property in the world, versus now $68 billion for Activision, which, correct me if I'm wrong, basically the only game that they put out consistently is Call of Duty, right?
Yeah, I mean, they have, I think mostly it's Call of Duty, but then they also, their other big hitters are Overwatch and formerly WoW.
Well, that's the Blizzard side of things.
Yeah, but I mean, it's all
I mean, it's all the
same umbrella.
I'm just talking about Activision proper, like, because
I mean, they got Crash Bandicoot, dude.
They do have Crash Bandicoot.
Microsoft owns Crash now,
and we'll get to it in a second. But Sony owns the studio that made Halo.
Yeah, so I actually pulled up a list. I actually pulled up a list here. So yeah, they've got Call of Duty, they got Crash Bandicoot. Here's some other ones that, you know, call them what you will. You got Candy Crush.
That's the King property. Yeah.
You got this one hits close to my heart. Geometry Wars.
Yes.
You got Guitar Hero. You got Hearthstone. Again, those are Blizzard.
I could go on all day about the classic Activision like
Skylanders.
Properties. Exactly.
Skylanders, Spyro,
but almost
Starcraft,
all of those
Tony Hawk's Pro Skater.
All of those are like they're not being used right now. You know what I mean? Like when was the last time a Skylanders game came out? That was the biggest thing in the world like 6 years ago. And we haven't seen a because what Activision did, they basically their the way they did business was they would take a property and just milk it into the ground until it was no longer viable. They did it with Tony Hawk. They did it with Guitar Hero. They did it with Skylanders. And they've been doing it with Call of Duty since 2008 or 9 or whatever.
Yeah, I mean, hopefully Microsoft will come in and really step their game up and start putting out quality over quantity with that stuff.
Yeah, for sure.
And really give them the revamp that they deserve. But I am a little worried because some of their revamps like Microsoft revamps haven't been what we were hoping they would be. For example, Crackdown 3 was like, what the hell was that? We waited for 15 years for that. And then like it comes out and it's like, it just shit the bed. So I think
I'm gonna call that like old Microsoft. That was still like, because that was like a launch game for the Xbox One, I think, or it was supposed to be. I think it got delayed, but
Yeah, it
like,
got delayed a long time.
but like that
It
was
didn't
like
come out till like 2 or 3 years ago.
so that to me that's like the pre Phil Spencer era, and I think all that they've been doing since then is pretty like no ginormously rich corporation. I'm gonna give like the benefit, of whatever, but I think a lot of the stuff they've been working towards has been pretty, like buying Double Fine and giving them the room to make Psychonauts 2 awesome, like the money and the budget. They really took their time with that and it showed, you know what I mean? Like that's
Yeah.
cool. I'm hoping that that's the kind of treatment they give these properties, because really we know what this is all about. This is about Game Pass. This is about filling out the roster on Game Pass with games that make it a better value.
Yes, and it's also about taking prime IPs away from Sony to make them to where Sony either is going to play ball with Game Pass or
Yeah.
get left in the dust.
Yeah, for sure.
I mean, Call of Duty is just with Call of Duty, it's like a double-edged sword, because like on the one hand, it's like if they leave it on Sony platforms, obviously that's going to be money for Sony. It's going to be another IP that Sony can still sell as one of their products.
Right.
But on the other hand, it's like if they take away Call of Duty from Sony, they are leaving out millions of potential customers with microtransactions, with purchasing the game initially. So either way, it's like,
do you think that this is a big enough shift to eventually, it won't happen anytime soon, but to eventually get Sony to cave and get Game Pass on a Sony platform?
I think it's the first step in that direction.
Yeah.
And
I think Bethesda was the first step. This is like the maybe the half step. This is like I mean, so just anecdotally, like Sean is going to buy a PC soon, I think, just to play Bethesda games. I don't think he's going to buy like a Xbox or anything, but he's going to get like, I think there's going to be people like that for Bethesda. But like, can you imagine all the PS5, PS4 Call of Duty bros? Like they're going to buy. They're going to buy Xboxes.
There are people who only play Call of Duty. There are a shitload of people that only play Call of Duty, and and honestly, I want to say that the majority of them are on PlayStation
since this last generation. Yeah, for sure.
So would it behoove Xbox to take it off of PlayStation?
So interesting that you say that, because what happened as this acquisition went through, or not, it hasn't fully gone through yet, but as this was announced,
it's going to take like 2 years, I think, for it to fully go through.
I think it's June of next year, June of 2023 is when they said. But as this was announced, they actually promoted Phil Spencer to head of Microsoft Gaming, no longer part of they took the Xbox branding out of his title. And now he's the head of Microsoft. It is that, I think that is very interesting, because it's almost a step away from the Xbox brand in general, so that when they put Game Pass, if they were to put Game Pass on a Sony platform or the Switch or whatever, it wouldn't say like Xbox Game Pass. It would say,
Microsoft Game Pass.
Maybe not even Microsoft, like maybe just because the one on Game Pass or the PC is just Game Pass for PC. It's not even Microsoft's Game Pass for PC. It's not Xbox Game Pass. It's just Game Pass for PC. So, you've got like, I think a cool, an avenue for them to do that kind of stuff.
Mm-hmm.
So I think it's going to be interesting. Like, I don't know what the actual like timeline is for this kind of thing to happen, but I think that's the ultimate goal of Microsoft.
We are all I was talking to my buddy Mac about this the other day, because he had no idea. He was telling me, he was like, dude, did you hear about Sony buying Bungie? Which we'll get that in a little bit.
Yeah.
But I was like, yeah, but did you hear the other news? He's like, what? I was like, dude, Microsoft bought Activision, and he owns Mr. Reuter of Columbia. He's a plumber. And I was like, dude, they're buying Mr. Reuter soon too. And I was like, it's like, we're all going to be Microsoft employees, dude. We're going to go colonize Mars.
Yeah.
And we're basically going to be living the outer worlds, except it's going to be Bill Gates is our fearless leader.
we're gonna do we're gonna get paid Microsoft or what do they call the ones on the Xbox?
It's just gonna be gold. We're gonna get
gold
Xbox
points.
gold. We're gonna
Gold
be
points.
Xbox gold for fucking
that's our
going
paycheck.
and mining cryptocurrency on Mars.
Right. So okay, consolidation is not a great thing. Everybody knows that. I think when it comes to this kind of stuff, it's not like Activision was doing anything with those properties for the most part. You know what I mean? So to me, you could end up in a lot worse place than Microsoft, especially the way Microsoft is running right now. Like I think they're doing a pretty good job of utilizing their IPs. And what I really like about what they're doing is they're giving small budgets to games that otherwise never in a chance in hell would get a chance to come back, or to flourish. Like if you look at the Game Pass slate, they're getting games like we'll talk about this in a little bit, but Nobody Saves the World, Death's Door, these smaller games to fill out this roster. And I think that's exactly what they're going to use with these old IPs.
But they're not giving those developers money.
Oh, yeah,
I mean, they're to get onto Game Pass there, but they're not giving them money to develop those games.
Right. But what I mean is that slate of that size of game is, I think, what they're going to go for when they're filling out their roster with first party stuff. So like what I'm excited about is I know you weren't a PC gamer back in the day, but like classic PC titles like Hexen and Spycraft and all these. Activision used to be a very prolific PC publisher for a very long time, and they have all kinds of classic IPs that are just sitting dormant. And I know Microsoft is going to be interested in filling that slate out with some of these classic IPs that are going to get people like me excited, who used to play on PC back in the 90s, and take some of those games and give them modest budgets. Because with Game Pass, you don't have to worry about a game not selling, 8 million copies to make back its budget, right? Like if it's on Game Pass, it's like Netflix, like it's just filling out a slate of content for the user and hopefully attracting people who are interested in that kind of stuff. And I think that to me is what's most exciting. Like maybe we get, Tim Schafer doing a Sierra, because now they own Sierra, the old adventure game people, maybe we have Tim Schafer doing like a Gabriel Knight game or something like that. Like that is so cool to me. I doubt that's going to happen, like honestly. But
I mean, the only adventure games that I used to play back in the day were LucasArts.
Right. So, but what's crazy? So Tim Schafer is from LucasArts. So now you've got LucasArts developers on old Sierra games, which is just awesome. Like just,
I mean, if they could bring back, I mean, who owns Sam and Max these days?
LucasArts or Lucas, whoever. Oh, I don't know.
Googling it. Because dude, that was like my first adventure game was Sam and Max Hit the Road.
They relaunched Sam and Max on the 360.
Steve Purcell owns all the Sam and Max IP.
That's the creator. So
just that one dude owns it.
Yeah. So Microsoft, if they wanted it, they would just throw some money.
He licenses it out.
Yeah.
Okay.
So, but yeah, imagine like some of those old, because you can't put a $100 million budget into an adventure game these days. Like it's just not going to sell enough to make that worth your while. But
you don't need to.
Exactly. With it on Game Pass, it's already got your built-in audience. People can try it for free. You're going to make that money back just by it being part of Game Pass in a way that would never, ever happen without the just mountains of money that Microsoft has. So I think that's cool. Like, there is a potential for some cool stuff to come out of this.
I completely agree. I think that a lot of the games that are owned by Activision, they've been sitting for a long time. People always talk about them. We were talking about it before. Were we talking about it on here? The where were the Skylanders? Was that?
Yeah, we talked about Skylanders.
Yeah. Okay. Yeah. So if they could do something great with Skylanders, do you know how many like kids?
16% already. How many kids? What?
Oh, I also had a 12% beer earlier too, as well.
Oh, nice.
Also, I have a sinus infection, so if I start hacking up a lung,
we'll fix it.
Great.
We'll fix it in post.
Yep. But yeah, do you know how many kids are like 25 now? Like 21 to 25-year-olds played Skylanders growing up, and now. Yeah. And like, if they decided to reboot Skylanders with like cooler, like physical pieces for the game, like how much money they could make selling just that.
Well, that's okay. So this is a good question to ask, I think, because with this acquisition, Microsoft not only owns Skylanders, which is a plastic toy thing, but they also own Guitar Hero. Well, but Guitar Hero, so another plastic, peripheral focus thing. So do they bring back these franchises, which they're clearly going to do? They're going to bring back Guitar Hero 100%.
They better bring back Guitar Hero.
They will. And they will definitely bring back Skylanders. Like, even if it's at a modest budget type thing, like, it doesn't have to be this big. You don't have to sell millions of copies to make money, just like we just talked about. So they're definitely going to do it. The question is, how do they do it? Do you think they bring back the plastic, or do you think they go, since our libraries are
I think they'll do both. I think they'll do both to be able to hit both markets, because there's a lot of people like, you and me, who would spend the money on a nice piece of Guitar Hero equipment. But there's also yeah, dude. But then there's also just a ton of people like my little brother, who's 23, who would love to play Guitar Hero but can't afford a $200 peripheral.
Yeah. So how do you satisfy both of those? Like, do you get
you have both.
How do you do it digitally? Like, on the controller, you just like make a
no. They're going to be they still have to sell the peripherals.
Oh, so you're saying like a cheap peripheral?
Yeah, a cheap peripheral and a nice peripheral. Like 2 SKUs for that.
So you think either way, they're not going to do like a Fantavision thing where they can do it on a controller. Either way, plastic instruments are coming back. Plastic figures for Skylanders are coming back. I
think that'd be the smart thing to do.
Gotcha.
Because that's a whole nother stream of revenue that can come in from selling actual physical items. That's and I mean, true. even with like the shift from like digital or from physical games to digital games, they're still selling collector's editions of games with all this fancy shit in it, but then a code for the game that comes in the box.
That's honestly how a lot of them, that's how they make a lot of money, is with those collector's editions.
Yeah, I'm a chump, dude. I've got
you're definitely a mark for it, for sure.
I've got so many collector's editions.
Hey, if it makes it like you, but you display it all, which is good. Like, some people just put that shit in a closet after a couple of weeks, if you're displaying it and it is part of your your collection, I think that's really cool. And also what I think they're banking on, if they bring back Skylanders, if they bring back Guitar Hero, because in your background you got there, like, imagine like a nice guitar hanging there or something like that. Like, I think that's what they're going to go for.
You mean like,
and yeah, just like that. That's the other route, is like maybe you got to get a hookup for actual guitars, which I know Rocksmith.
Well, that's Rocksmith, yeah.
But I don't, maybe they don't do that. That seems really complicated.
Yeah, I think they need to go back to, they just need a solid ass catalog of songs for Guitar Hero.
They need to like link up with Spotify or someone like that, where they can, and I know you still have to make the stems for it, but get a company that just buy Spotify. just acquire another one.
Right. Oh my God, I would actually be so down for that.
You've already got the licensing acquisition, which is really what you need for that kind of stuff. That's the hardest part, is getting the licensing. So, buy one of those big, buy Tidal, buy Tidal. Like, they're not doing anything. So.
But on that same note, I don't know shit about music licensing.
It's a nightmare. I know that.
So I think even if they bought Spotify, I don't know that those licenses would extend to video game use. It might just be streaming use.
No, it definitely
for Spotify.
It would not, but you're already, what I mean by that is that you're already in contact with the people who, you already have the people who make those deals in place. You don't have to hire that. You don't have to like have somebody at if they bring back Neversoft or whatever, you don't have somebody at Neversoft that does that. You've already got a guy internally, because you own Spotify, that's already making those deals as it is. And then he's just like, hey, by the way, we're bringing back Guitar Hero. Do you want in? That kind of thing. And I think that's how it would work. Honestly, I think they'll end up acquiring because they probably got a warehouse of Zune somewhere they need to get like out. Dude,
I remember back in.
Did Kyle own a Zune? One of y'all owned a
Zune. No. But back in high school, I think I was a sophomore when the Zune came out, and I was all about an iPod. I had just gotten my first iPod like the year before, and one of my buddies, who I haven't talked to in a really long time, but he was actually a huge video game nerd. I used to go over to his house, play Guitar Hero all the time.
He was like, Zune is the future.
Dude, he really was. He really was.
I knew a guy like that too.
He was like, dude, look at this wheel. Look at how easy it is to navigate these menus. Like,
I
bro.
do remember the culture wars around that stuff, like people being like, listen, dude, Apple doesn't make, look at their computers, like they're garbage, they don't make stuff like this. Microsoft makes stuff. And it's like, all right, yeah, see who won that battle.
Yeah.
Good stuff. All
Sorry.
right, so moving from one big acquisition to another, we have the news of Sony buying Destiny developer Bungie.
Yep.
For
Former
three,
Halo developer.
for the creators of Halo and Myth, and Marathon, one of my favorite games. If you, all right, so 3.6 billion, I think is what it was.
Which I think is a steal for Sony.
So everyone, a lot of people seem to think that that's too much, or not too much, but like paying high. But I looked into it, and apparently they paid 1.2 billion for retention. And the way that that is phrased is like, basically they're paying people to not leave after the acquisition goes through.
Paying employees to not leave?
Yes.
Okay.
So what it tells me is that you don't just want the IP. Like Destiny as a brand is probably pretty valuable, but it's probably not 3.8 billion, 3.6 billion worth of value. But what is that valuable is
the devs.
People, the devs who work on live service games, because if you think about it, Sony is severely lacking in the live service game department. They do great single player, blockbuster, high budget games, but they don't have it, not any that I can think off the top of my head, live service games. Not
but also, I mean, what live service? Well, now that Microsoft has Activision, Blizzard, they've got a bunch of live service games. But prior to that, what live service games did Microsoft have?
Well, I think with Microsoft, they're already a services company, so it wasn't really like, you know, they're selling Office and all that other stuff.
I mean, I guess their service also is Game Pass,
right?
Like that's how they're getting their continuing returns. Is Game Pass.
But even barring that, they have like Sea of Thieves. They have, which isn't like the biggest thing in the world, but it does make a lot of money. They have Halo now, which is making a lot of money. They have these big franchises that they are being able to capitalize on. They're not exactly, you know, they're not Ubisoft with their live service stuff, and they're not Destiny, which is one of the biggest. But you know, they do have a little bit more. Sony doesn't have. I mean, they tried Destruction All Stars, and that did not work at all.
I still want to try that, but I don't have a PS5.
It's a cool game, but it's not, you know, it ain't Fall Guys. It ain't setting the world on fire with that kind of like consistent money. Like,
I know the popularity wasn't great, but like the concept and the gameplay of that looked pretty dope.
Yeah, and I think it could be eventually, but I don't think people are looking for a vehicular destruction game at the moment. Twisted Metal, they're going to try to bring back Twisted Metal. I don't think that's going to do well either.
I hope it does. I fucking love Twisted Metal.
I do too, but it's just not. They've tried it before.
Twisted Metal Black, dude. That shit used to give me nightmares.
Great video game. I just don't think it has the cachet to compete with like an Apex Legends or I mean,
it doesn't have to. It doesn't have to. It doesn't have to be an Apex Legends. It doesn't have to be a Fortnite.
That doesn't have to be, but that's what Sony wants. There's the key, is that it might not have to be, but Sony wants one of those in their stable. They want a Apex, they want a Fortnite, they want something that people are streaming on Twitch every night, that they are making constant money off of without having to put out physical, you know, like a new product every quarter or whatever it is. You know, they want something that people are coming back to every single night and playing with their friends online, and that they can stream and get more popularity off of. That's
what if Google decided to make like a game streaming service that they could. I'm just kidding.
It's like, what? So, I was listening to a podcast earlier and somebody made the joke that Google buys oh god, what was it? But basically it was like up the 10 pole. It was like, oh, somebody bought this company, then somebody bought this one, and then Google bought all of it. So that could be our nightmare future. But yeah, I don't know. So basically with the Bungie thing, that really what they want is the expertise of these guys who have been developing a live service game for the past 9 years. Destiny 1 came out in 2013. So they want people who already know how to do that stuff, so they can use that, basically share that technology amongst all of their studios. You know, so like they're not going to be the only one. Bungie's not going to be the only ones making live service games, but they want that technology to be able to be shared amongst all of their studios. So,
can I say something?
Yeah.
This beer is hitting hard.
Okay.
This beer is hitting real hard.
Nice.
Jesus Christ. What have I got? Oh, Adam, what did you get yourself into? Whew, okay. All right. Yeah, dude. It's like I got
Got a little dizzy.
got a little lightheaded there for a second.
Nice. Focus on something on the wall. Keep
Focus on that beautiful face over there across the screen.
Thank you.
That nice beard.
Yeah, big old beard.
So, speaking of getting dizzy, all right, I need to take it aside from the business talk for a minute.
Okay.
So, speaking of getting dizzy, I have been sick now twice in the last month. Like I had COVID about 3 weeks ago, which was a nightmare. I know some people who have been asymptomatic, and some people have had 1 or 2 symptoms. I had like every sickness symptom besides a tumor, like that exists.
Could be COVID related.
Yeah, it was like it started out with sinuses, then it was my throat, then it was a headache, then it was like a chest pain, then I had the fatigue and the fever and the chills, and then like a week later I was like, I'm fine, and then I started like pooping water for like 2 days. And then it went away, and I was like, all right, I'm cool now. I'm cool. I'm good. And this was a couple weeks ago, and now I felt better. And so I was like, all right, I'm gonna get back in the gym. I started going back to the gym. First day back to the gym, and I guess I went a little hard in the paint, and then
as one does,
walked out of the gym, and it was like 25 degrees outside, and I immediately couldn't, like my chest tightened up, my nose got all stuffy. And now ever since that night, I've had a sinus infection, like a horrible one, absolutely horrible.
It probably piggybacked off the back of your
definitely
being so lowered by COVID.
Definitely. And then and then also like I was so hot, and then I went out into that cold. Yeah. And then so I've been sick for like the last week, but I've still been working because we don't have enough vacation time. But just kidding. But just really.
If anyone from Comer's
listening. Everybody from Comer's listening. I get plenty of vacation time. I don't know what you're talking about. No, but so I was driving the van yesterday, and I tried to. My ears were like stuffy from this sinus infection, and like they like when you have a sinus infection, sometimes it'll sound like you're like underwater or something, because like you got such pressure in your ears and your face.
Yep.
I tried to clear it by pinching my nose and breathing out through my nose. And instead of clearing it, I just added a shit ton of pressure that stayed there. And then out of nowhere, I've never experienced vertigo in my life.
Oh, nice.
But dude, I was driving, and out of nowhere, I felt like I was flipping and spinning at the same time. And I was like, holy shit, I was on a bridge, and I had to pull. I was like pulled over really fucking fast. Like I just like jerked the wheel over and pulled over, because otherwise I would have driven off the damn road. And because it was just like I didn't know which way was up. And so like I immediately called Ben, my boss, and I was like, dude, I'm running behind today, but I don't know what the hell's going on, but I cannot drive right now. Like he's like, all right, don't worry about it, you're good.
Yeah.
I just sit there for like 20 minutes, but like vertigo is crazy, dude.
Yeah.
I have never experienced that, but holy shit. It was like I was on that little, it was like I was on that like spaceship ride at the fair.
The one that like pushes you up against the wall. Yeah.
That's exactly what it felt like.
Oh, that sounds terrible.
Yeah. So cheers to COVID.
Cheers to COVID. I think that's a big part of like, why we're seeing so much of this industry kind of blowing up right now. Like you have people playing video games that have never played video games before. People posting like, I knew girls in the pandemic that were like, look at my Animal Crossing village. I'm like, you played Animal Crossing? Like what when did that happen? Because people are, like COVID has been a nightmare, and people are doing, sitting at home and doing things, and maybe doing podcasts on a Friday night instead of going out. And like we're seeing a lot of influx.
Yeah. Kyle and Kai are bowling tonight.
a Bolero.
Fucking hope not.
I'm not ever. So if you go back to episode like 6, if you want a story about Bolero, but I will never go back there, so they can have fun with that.
Yeah, Kyle asked me to go bowling tonight with him and Kai, and I told him we were doing this. And I also told him, I was like, yeah, I don't think I want to go bowling because this week has been a fucking nightmare.
Yeah.
Because my delivery driver, so Comer, the company I work for, is really small. We are a South Carolina only beer distributor. And in the Columbia market, we only have 2 delivery drivers for like 3 or 4 counties. And so one of our drivers this week is out with COVID. Funny enough, just one more like punch from COVID. And so I've been having to play salesman and delivery driver all week. And I've got 2 events this weekend. And so I've been trying to set all that up, deliver, sell.
Mm-hmm.
And so tonight I was like, I'm going to drink some 15% beers and
record a podcast.
Yep.
For real. Let's touch on these 2 quick stories before we go, or before we take a break and get another beer.
Yep.
One thing that I am I'll let you do the other one, but I am so excited. I cannot tell you how excited I am for Elden Ring. Elden Ring has gone gold. We will have it in our hot hands in less than 3 weeks. I think it's like at the end of the month.
What are you going to have in your hot hands?
Elden Ring.
Oh, okay.
Not anything. Well,
what ring?
The penis ring. Coxman ring? I don't know. But if like you completely threw me off with no. What do I have in my hand?
What is in your what?
You can't see
in 3 weeks. It's
going
to be in my hot hands. I swear to God.
You can't see beneath this camera right now. You don't know what's down there. But yeah. So Elden Ring. I know that we'll both probably get that. That'll be a big thing for us to talk about for a while. I think. I've beaten everything From Software has done since Demon's Souls, the first one. So I am no, I take that back. I never beat Sekiro because I didn't have it in me, but I mean everything else they've done, and I am very, very excited about Elden Ring and that we will have that soon.
Well, I have beaten nothing that From has done. I have played Dark Souls 1. I have played Bloodborne.
You didn't beat Bloodborne?
No. I get frustrated and quit. That's what I do. It's not what I did. It's what I do. Like on like a bi-monthly basis, I try Bloodborne and then I quit.
Yeah, absolutely.
But yeah, I mean, I am excited for that because I will one day
beat a From
game. And if there is one thing to make me fucking do it, it is a George R.R. Martin led open world with a horse that I can just like jump on and climb up a mountain.
So do you, I don't know if you've seen any of the stuff that's come out about it, but they're basically Miyazaki was out there saying like, I think that more people are going to beat this one than have ever beat any of our games before.
Yes.
Not in like he's not saying like it's easier. He just said that there was like more accessibility things that are going to help people get through it, which I think for people like you who are like maybe a little bounce off a little bit easier are going to be like, okay, this is what I needed to get me through some of these more difficult parts.
I just don't have the damn time to sit there and try to beat a boss for 3 hours.
Well, that's why you summon somebody and get through it.
I never did that either.
Well, that's how you get through those. That's how, I mean, I have since beaten all the bosses solo, but like my first time through, I'm almost always just summoning people out. Like I want to see the end. I want to be able to say I beat it, and I'll summon. I got no shame. I'll summon somebody to help me beat that boss.
Okay.
Yeah.
Well, maybe you can jump in. Can you jump in on some Bloodborne with me? Walk me through some shit.
I keep Bloodborne installed at all times.
I think I still have it installed.
Speaking of that, I have I don't know if you've seen this going around, but they did a PS1 demake of Bloodborne.
Oh, I saw that. It looked amazing.
So you can download it on your computer right now. I'll send you the link.
Ooh. Yay. That's exciting.
I'll send you that link.
Does it play the same as
it plays exactly the same?
Have you played it?
I have.
Yeah.
If you have any nostalgia for PS1 games,
hell yeah, dude.
It like from the fonts on the menus to the menu sounds, it looks like they just, I mean, of course it moves smoother than any blood, like oh, and the cool thing is, so it's by default set at like a PlayStation frame rate, it's set at like 22 frames per second.
Oh,
But
dude.
I jacked it up to 144 frames per second, which is what my monitor is. And it looks,
Oh man.
it's almost like too many frames. But man, it's
Dude,
it's so
speaking of
fun.
that, like what the visual style of that game reminded me of was Tomb Raider. That was like, for some reason, that was what popped in my head.
Do you remember? Okay, this wasn't like an obscure game because it was pretty successful, but a lot of people don't remember it anymore. Do you remember a game called Nightmare Creatures? It
Nope.
was like a Todd McFarlane joint. Google it and see. It reminds me of that game specifically because like the big hulking creatures and stuff like that. Like
I never
very
played that. I never played that. I am about to buy Tomb Raider though, because I can.
the PS1 version
Yup.
or like the Steam version, I guess.
I was gonna get it off of GOG. Can I get it on Steam?
GOG is probably the way to go when you're buying classic games like that because they take a
Yeah,
little
like
more.
when I'm thinking of old games, I'm thinking I'm probably gonna use GOG.
Mhm.
I did buy Sam and Max Hit the Road.
Oh.
On
While we
GOG.
were talking about it,
No, I bought like that was literally one of the first games I bought when I got a piece when I bought a fucking gaming PC.
that
I
might
bought Sam and Max.
that might be on Game Pass.
I think I not Hit the Road. But like Sam and Max had like a revamp in like the 2000s.
Yeah, that's what I said earlier on the 360.
Yeah,
I
and
know what you're talking about because I played the originals back in the day. I was never a big Sam and Max. I was more of Data Tentacle.
Well, see, I was literally like 6 years old when these games came out.
Yeah, it's probably the perfect age.
I and Max would cuss, and
Yes.
my dad and mom didn't know that, and I thought I was like pulling one over, like, ooh, I'm playing this game that's got cuss words in it. They're talking about boobies.
That's really funny. That's like when Dan Reichert talked about how if you put the on the Naughty Dog game for the Genesis, if you put a certain code in, it would display.
That can't be real.
It could display movies instead.
That can't be real. That cannot be real.
So funny. Oh my god. All right, you want to go to the Apex news real quick, and then we'll take a break and refill our beers.
Yep. And then
I didn't even know this was happening until you sent this message to our group.
I got this notification on my work phone earlier. I don't know how that happened, but
what?
It's always listening. Always listening.
I guess so.
So they've been talking for a while about bringing Apex Legends to mobile.
Mm-hmm.
And it is finally actually happening on a small scale. Obviously, this is probably going to be like a server test and a quality control kind of thing. Yeah. So obviously, I think what they're doing is they're going to countries with small markets right now.
That is what they do. That's how they do it.
Yeah. So very soon you can pre-register now if you are in Argentina, Colombia, Mexico, Peru, Indonesia, Malaysia, the Philippines, Singapore, Australia, and New Zealand. Mm-hmm. So those countries can pre-register on the Google Play Store for Apex Legends Mobile. That seems like something that I will really, really enjoy. If it's anything like, I wonder if it's going to be just straight up Apex Legends on mobile. Do you think that's what it's going to be?
So, they have like PUBG on mobile and Call of Duty Warzone on mobile. Or not, sorry, PUBG.
There's a Call of Duty mobile game that is really fucking good. Have you tried that?
I have. Touchscreen controls don't do it for me. I'm just. Not gonna...
But the reason I liked it is because it's everyone on this one type of controller. If they're doing Apex Legends Mobile, is it going to be everyone's on touch controls?
Yeah, so not necessarily, because even with that Call of Duty game, you can plug a controller, or not plug. You can put a controller on your phone and play it with a controller, which I think is bullshit because 90% of the people are going to be playing with touchscreens. Mm-hmm. But the kids these days, they're like so fast with touchscreen that they probably could beat me with a controller at this point. So maybe it's not that unfair. But
are we old?
Yeah. I don't know if you know this, but we are coming up on the 25th anniversary of, God, what did I see the other day? It's the 25th anniversary of Oh God. Oh, next year will be the 25th anniversary of Taking Back Sunday's "Tell All Your Friends,"
Shut the fuck up.
or the 20th anniversary. Sorry, 20th anniversary. 20th anniversary.
Dude, I went to the 20th anniversary of what was the one before Tell All Your Friends?
That is the first one. You went to the 15 because that's the one I went to. That was like 5 years ago, 4 years ago.
There was no way.
Yeah. Tell All Your Friends came out in 2003.
Oh God. It's really been 4 years since I went to that concert.
Yes. Yep. But say it this way: you went there in 2018. That does not feel like 4 years ago, but it was.
Well, that's just because like the last like 3 years have been just totally boned.
Just 1 year. Yeah, just 1 year.
Yeah, it seriously feels like last year.
So we're coming up on the 20th. So next year will be this year is the 23rd anniversary of the Phantom Menace.
I just popped a zit on my face and it's bleeding.
Beautiful. All right. Well, while Adam deals with that, we're gonna take a quick break.
Are you sure I'm 32 and not 15?
No, actually, no, I'm not sure. That could be. All right, we're gonna go. Adam's gonna go with maybe not a 15% beer.
Oh God, no, it's gonna be.
Oh Lord. And we're gonna take a quick break, is what I'm trying to say, and we'll be right back with some what have we been playing, and see you shortly. Welcome back, everybody, to the Gaming and Drinking Cast. Once again, I am Travis Casey. This is our other host, Adam Gogan.
Yeah,
I know you come in or whatever.
I wanted you to say it. I don't know
why. So we launched into the first segment pretty quickly. We kind of wanted to get to some of that news. But now that we've got a few beers in us, we're going to kick back and shoot the shit and catch everybody up on life and shit and stuff. So, but before we do that, what do you I'll pull my surprise out for you.
Yeah, what you got there? Yay!
So Adam and I literally talked about this earlier today when he was talking about getting this particular beer into some accounts. It is the Sweet Baby Chai from Duclaw Brewing. This is a spin on their regular Sweet Baby Jesus, which is a peanut butter porter. Amazing peanut butter porters. It's very popular. It's nationwide. I love
chocolate peanut butter. Chocolate
peanut butter. Yeah. I feel like chocolate and porters go like hand in hand. Yeah. But I love chai tea. So when you told me that I didn't even know this was a thing until you told me about it.
Yeah.
I am.
It just came out like last week.
I am very excited to try this. Let's give it a whirl.
I'm kind of jealous because I haven't had that one yet. I'll be buying that one from Total next week and trying that one out.
It smells like a Sweet Baby Jesus for sure. That's damn good.
Yeah?
I feel like this would be really good on draft.
I'm going to have to get that one into a couple. I know I can think of a couple places I should take that to.
It tastes like a Sweet Baby. I mean, it tastes exactly what it tastes like, a Sweet Baby Jesus with some chai, like sprinkled on top.
It's just some nice chai spice in there.
Some nice chai spices, exactly. Yeah, it's good. I'm a fan of this. It's 6.2%, by the way.
Okay.
Not a killer porter. My last beer is a 9%er, and I'm really excited about trying that.
Okay. Oh God, I was thinking this was going to be my last beer, but
I mean, I'm gonna drink it. Well, it might not be on camera, but I'm drinking that other one tonight.
So we've already talked about the little experiment I'm doing tonight. The last one I had was the Bourbon Barrel 2018. This is the 2020. The last one was 15.2 when it was bottled. This one is 14.6 when it was bottled. And it's also 2 years younger. So probably not now. Quite as strong as the other one.
15% not as strong.
Yeah. But so on this little tag that they have on this fancy bottle, this guy, it says develops in the bottle up to 5 years. But I did a little Googling and not just now, but like before, whenever I was actually thinking about doing this whole thing about like how much does Goose Island bourbon barrel change if you age it? And I haven't tried this yet.
Right.
But they got like a guy who is like an expert on aging beer to come in and talk about what might or might not happen to a Bourbon County beer. And they were saying that basically the way that Goose Island makes their beer, they do, I think he called it flash pasteurization with,
Yep.
and so because they do it that way, something about it means that it's not going to age in the bottle as much as you think it would. It's not going to develop as much. And they've marketed it to where like they say like it will change, it'll develop, the characters will come out of the beer over time. But according to this expert, I mean, honestly, it was one article that I read. I didn't do a shit ton of research, but according to that one expert, they said that like the flavor will not develop that much over time.
Is that a like because it's so mass produced, like in that particular instance, or is that all? Because I know our stuff does, when it ferments in the can, like it does ferment, like you can definitely taste the difference.
But like basically the people that buy this Bourbon County stuff and age it for years, they think that it's like bringing out like this, it'll turn into a whole new beer basically by the time you get done aging it. Yeah. And what he's saying is like it might change a little bit, but it's not going to change dramatically.
Just for this beer, though, not across
just the board. Just for this beer. No, not across the board, but just for this particular beer.
Because of the flash pasteurization process.
Yeah. Yeah.
That's got to be a mass like bottling thing, I think. Gotta be.
Probably. Yeah, because they make a shitload of it.
Yeah. I've never, because we, when we can something like say one of our bourbon barrel aged like pastry stouts or something like that, you can definitely taste the difference between like last year's and this year's or 2 years ago. And like Old Hickory does the Event Horizon, which is one of my favorite beers ever. And I had one from like 2016 that was absolutely amazing. And you could tell that it had aged in the bottle, but that's also like a homegrown, like very like small batch type thing. So I bet that flash pasteurization thing you're talking about is a result of them mass producing it.
Yeah. So I wanted to just check it out and see. So this one's 2 years younger. It had a little bit of a different ABV. Obviously, it's going to be a little bit a different, probably changed the recipe a little bit.
I'm sure they did. Yeah.
Every year, I think they do change it a little bit. Yeah. I've heard that this year's, I was talking to one of my customers today who knows a lot about beer. And I was talking to him about this and what I was doing. And he said that he tried this year's Bourbon County and he said like, it wasn't that great. Mm-hmm. But they also had like the last 5 years of Bourbon County up on their shelf, like for people to buy. So he knew a lot about it. But he also didn't tell me whether or not it ages over time. Some people say it does. Some people don't. I'm about to see if this tastes any different than the other one. Let's see.
Yeah.
To me,
tastes
the exact same.
I wonder. That
tastes the exact same as the other one.
Do you remember like the first time you had like a pumpkin?
I don't remember where I was or who I was with.
But you remember it was a thing though, right? Like the first time you tried Southern Tier's pumpkin. Like the way that tasted back in like 2013, 14, whenever I first tried it, and the way it tastes now, to me, is very different. But I bet if you put them side by side to just like a person who had been, had like a couple stouts, you probably wouldn't be able to tell like the minute differences between the two. I bet that's like something that you're not going to really get right now. Like you probably have to do like a sifter, while you're completely sober.
Yeah. So that's one thing. Like if I would have done these side by side, sip for sip, then there might be some subtle notes, but like overall, this tastes the same. Also, I will put a little asterisk. When I got COVID, I lost my sense of smell and taste completely. Like they were gone. I've gotten my sense of taste back, but I still can't smell like hardly at all. And like Yeah, I can smell that a little bit, but like my sense of smell is very, very muted as compared to what it was like a month ago.
Yeah.
So I might not be the best person to do something like this,
Yeah.
but overall,
I'm willing to bet that they make it like a Bourbon County tastes like a Bourbon County. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Like regardless of whether you got it in 2016 or 2022, it's going to taste like a Bourbon County. You know, there might be subtle differences in there, but I think you're going to get the overall picture of a Bourbon County when you drink a Bourbon County. Like I don't think that like it's not going to taste like a completely different beer regardless. You know what I mean? Like we can all debate the merits of whether or not this year's version was good. You know, I do it with Pumpkin every year because I'm a big fan of that. But like at the end of the day, it still tastes like what it tastes like. You know, it's definitely going to be one of those things where, like you said, if we had like, you know, 2 glasses set up and you were doing a taste test sip for sip, I bet you definitely could tell the difference. Maybe not with COVID, you know, fresh in your rear view, but I bet you could taste the difference between the two. It's just like you had one a minute ago and now you're having another one. Like that's probably, I don't think you're going to be able to tell the differences in those and that, right? You know, which is what they want. Like they want Bourbon County to taste like a Bourbon County. And there's nothing wrong with that.
And it's still good. I'm not knocking it for that.
Yeah.
But I think the whole like tag with like develops in the bottle up to 5 years. Like, dude, it's been, the other one I had just now was 4 years old. Like it.
Yeah. Well, you know, you know, working in this industry, half that shit is just marketing, you know.
Oh yeah. And
blather.
yeah. And Goose Island is good at marketing. I will say that.
Yeah. Yeah, we'll leave it at that. You know, when it comes to that kind of stuff, like I enjoy the conversations that come from that kind of thing. You know, I'm willing to talk about like the subtle notes of stuff. But honestly, like when you get too far in the weeds in that shit, you kind of sound, not you specifically, I'm the royal you know, people who are like really snobby about beer and stuff, like it just comes off like really pretentious at times. Like I like good beer. I know what good beer is, but I'm not going to be there like, okay, I'm getting notes of, you know, like coffee and toffee and, you know, nut brown. Like I can tell some of that stuff, but at the end of the day, I just want my beer to taste good. You know,
what brown?
Nut brown.
Oh, nut brown. Okay.
You know, like I don't need to, it's almost like a dick measuring contest at some point, you know, where like, you're like, I can pull this flavor out before you can tell me about, you know what I mean? Like there's something about that kind of culture that I just don't like.
It's like sommelier culture.
Exactly. It's 100% like that. 100%.
Which
like
have
that.
you ever seen the documentary Somm?
I've seen some of it. I turned it on, but
dude, it is they actually made 2 of them, and I watched both of them, and God, it's like they could do that same documentary
with beer
for these beer guys.
Yeah,
I don't know what you call them.
Cicerone.
Flavor specialists. Oh, Cicerone. That's right.
Cicerone.
Yeah, you're right. But yeah, they could do one called Cicerone or whatever the fuck.
It's the exact same, you know, pretentious culture that, and don't get me wrong, like Cicerone's out there. If you happen to listen to this, like more power to you. Enjoy what you enjoy. We talk about video games in the same context. I get it. But when it comes to me, you know, engaging, I'm not going to engage in that conversation because I don't have,
I just literally had 2, like I was doing this flavor test for myself just to see if I could tell a difference.
He wanted to go to Flavor Town. Wanted to go to Flavor Town.
I went to Flavor Town.
There's nothing wrong.
Guy Fieri wasn't there. It was just me, myself, and I. I got to Flavor Town and I was really alone.
with these subtle notes of chocolate and cocoa. And like there's nothing, you know, listen, I love beer. We both love beer. That's why we started doing this. I don't really care about trying to prove my knowledge of this kind of stuff. I have no time for that. I really don't give a shit. But I know what beer tastes good, or at least to me tastes good. Like I'm not gonna say it's like an overall, I know what everybody should like type thing. I know it tastes good to me. And when I like something, I like it. I might not be, and with a lot of things that I like movies and stuff, I can back that up. With beer, sometimes I really can't back that up. Like I'm just like, I know this tastes good to me. I can't really tell you like if the difference between the cryo, mosaic hops and the
The
cryo
hell's a cryo
hops.
mosaic?
Right. Like I can't tell you the difference between that stuff. I do not have that palate. Matt, our buddy that runs Hazelwood, he definitely has that palate. He could tell you that all day, and he's not being pretentious. That dude just knows the stuff. Like he just got it. But I can't do that. I just don't have the knowledge that some people have. But I'm okay with that. Like I know it tastes good. And I'm fine with that. Like I like this beer right here.
And
Tastes freaking good.
just because you can't like succinctly describe what the fuck about the beer is good, you can still know that it is good. Right. And you can also know, like, based on who you're talking to, what that person may or may not like. Yeah. And so like I can still, even though I might not be able to write a 5-page review of 2020's Bourbon County stout, I can still tell you who will or won't like it.
Right. Yes. That comes with this job too. Like you being able to know your customer and their customer base and knowing what can sell with them and what they're going to like and all this other stuff. Like that's part of the job. And you get to know that stuff over time, what individual people's tastes are. And that's almost more important than being like, well, this is the best beer ever. Like, yeah, it might be the best beer ever, but if it's not going to sell in that account, there's really no point in trying to get those people to jump on it. You know what I mean?
Yeah. Yeah. But what I can't, you know what? I'm getting some smoked charcoal and
banana, nutmeg,
not banana.
I'm definitely getting some
salted caramel.
Probably some clove. I'm picking up notes of clove in this bad boy. That is actually true.
Probably
because it's chai. But anyway.
But so on another note, it has been what, a month and a half, 2 months since we've recorded?
Something like that.
And there are reasons for that. It's funny. We're on episode 12, and I think this is like the 4th or 5th episode where I said, I just got done moving. Because between September and now, I've moved from Tampa, Florida to Lugoff, South Carolina, to your roommate briefly. Wait, no, from Tampa, Florida to basically living with Katie in Columbia.
Yeah.
To your roommate, now to my place. So this is my 4th move basically in the last 3 months.
Also with your parents for, like,
that's what I'm saying.
Your stuff was there.
Yeah, that's what I'm saying. Like when I moved initially, it was to Lugoff to my parents' house. And all this is just because it has been a tumultuous 6 months or so for me. But now I'm actually, and I know I've said this before, but I am actually really truly I'm on a lease.
Yeah, you're settled.
I'm on a damn lease, guys. I'm a grown up.
Until this time next year when he does it all again. But as of right now, you are settled.
For at least the next 12 months, this will be my backdrop.
Settled. He is settled.
I think this is like my 4th or 5th backdrop that I've had. But yeah, I got a nice little 1-bedroom apartment. Got my puppers here with me.
Surprised we can't hear ham snoring in the background.
You want to say hey? You want to say hey? Hammy, come here. Come on, Ham. He is all about this plastic bone. Ham. Or whatever, he doesn't care. But yeah, so I'm settled finally. Got the job with Comer, and that's kind of why the last month or so I've been either sick or moving. And that's kind of why both. So it's been really busy, really stressful. And but now I'm settled in, and so hopefully I really want us to get on a weekly cadence with this. And I think now we are in the place to do it, because I also another little bit for me, I bought a gaming PC. Like I finally bought, like I've been, before this episode, every episode that I have recorded has been on a 2016 MacBook Air. And now
how mid 2000s of film student of youth.
Yeah, I mean, it's what
or
I
maybe
was.
art student in your case.
So I bought a badass new PC, and I've been
tell them what you got
that.
in that. Tell them what you got in that bitch.
I got the old 3060 Ti, dog.
3060
GeForce.
Ti.
3060 Ti. I've got 4 terabytes of memory.
You mean storage space?
Storage space, whatever. I
don't
know what the fuck.
16 gigs.
16 gigs of RAM. I don't know what the fuck else.
If you had 4 terabytes of memory, that'd be oof.
No, I got 4 I mean, it is memory though. Like it's holding it in there. It's remembering that I have it.
Yeah, but there's a difference between like accessible storage space versus listen, just like with the beer stuff, I can't really tell you the specifics of that. I just know the difference between a hard drive or not.
The words I made
you don't have a 4 terabyte solid state drive though, do you?
No, I've got 2 terabytes of SSD and 2 terabytes of HDD.
Oh, that's still pretty sick though.
Yeah.
So do you notice that? Okay, so here's a question. So on the PS5, which I know that you haven't fucked around with a whole lot, but I notice a big difference between the loading on that and you know the PS4, whatever. But my solid state in my gaming PC, which is pretty nice, I don't see like the big differences in that I do with the PS5. Do you?
I do. And I
think
have
instant loading like I do on my PS5, because I'm talking like there is no loading. Like when I play Demon Souls, it's like that. Like I don't mean like there's no bar that comes up. It's like it's just in.
My shit boots.
No, I'm not talking about booting and stuff like that. I'm talking about like when you load into a game and it's
I know. I'm saying when I boot a game, it loads in like that. And if there is a loading screen, the bar just goes like this.
So I can tell you loading Doom Eternal, which I have on both the PC and the PS5. The PS5 version loads probably 50% faster than the PC version. They're both running.
I don't know because I don't have a PS5 to compare it to.
Okay. I didn't know. I haven't seen like it is definitely faster on the solid state drive for the PC, but it's not mind blowing like the PS5 one is. Like the PS5, when you load into Spider-Man from like I'm talking from the game bar, you hit square and like I want to do this quest, you know, you can pull it up from the thing and like you're like do this right now. It loads in like there is no loading time. And versus the PC, which is just like a really fast loading screen, which is great. Like it's not really a thing, but it's not the like game changing thing that I think the PS5 is. And so the reason I ask is because I think it's tethered to, you know, the PC versions have to work for all PCs, whereas the PS5 is a walled garden. It works on every PS5. And I wonder if we're ever going to get to the point where the PC loading stuff is going to be comparable to PS5 stuff.
I don't think so. And the reason is because PC stuff is always like whenever you have those like top tier games, they're always going to be creating things that are going to push that PC to its limits. And so it's always going to have to load that. I don't think there's ever going to be a drive fast enough to jump ahead of the cutting edge of the tech.
The 6,000 by 3,000 textures.
PC game. Like if you max out your PC graphics on, I know Spider-Man's not on PC, but say Doom Eternal, if you max out on PC, I think it's still going to be higher than max settings on PS5.
And yes, I think that's 100% right, because if you think about loading like those mega textures in, which when I would mod Skyrim on a PC, you could download a texture pack that was like just absolutely mind blowing. Like there's no way that your PC is going to load that in, you know, however much amount of time. But I do think there's something about like, you know, when you're switching between loading like levels and Demon Souls, because you do load into levels in that, unlike Dark Souls, it is like so fast that it's one of the most impressive things about the PS5, I think. So I think that like if you're trying to develop before like, you know, that type of game for the PC, maybe that's what separates the two, like mind-blowing textures that you're never going to be able to see on a PS5 just because it's not going to be able to process that stuff. I guess that trade-off is worth it, but it is a cool thing that I think the PS5 does.
Yeah, and I mean, I think if you lowered your graphics settings enough to like, I wish that there was some way, like some toggle that was like match PS5. Like on a PC, be like, just do the same settings as the PS5, and then just like compare them side by side, kind of like the same way with the fucking beers that we were drinking earlier. Like we could very well do a sip for sip. This is what it is. Yeah. But with the PS5 and a PC, like you don't know what's going on under the hood on a PS5 versus a PC where it's like you can nitpick and kind of change every setting.
Stuff. I think, I really thought at one point the console market was going to get like this, where we would be able to drill down and do that stuff. Like that's one of my favorite parts about being a PC gamer is like being like, all right, listen, I value frame rates over this. I want to make my textures look medium or high, not very high. My shadows to be detailed, not very detailed or extreme or whatever. Like I love doing that stuff. And I know not everyone wants that. That's why you get like a console that just takes care of all that stuff for you. But there really is something about being able to be like, I'm going to make the perfect game for me. And I think that's what PC gaming does so freaking well. It's one of the things I missed about PC gaming when I wasn't doing it for a while. And one of my favorite parts about doing it now, although you can download like GeForce Experience and it'll like kind of take care of that stuff for you. But I find that it isn't like perfect by any means. And I still want to get in there and like tinker with it, you know?
Can I just kind of
this
pinky out snob moment for a second?
This is safe space.
I just max everything out.
Of course you do.
I max it all out and it runs like butter, dude.
Is your monitor 4K?
It is not. But most games don't run at 4K anyway.
Most modern games do on the PC for sure. Yeah. If you're not seeing those settings on yours, it's because it knows your monitor can't go up to that. So it doesn't even display that. But yeah, most modern PCs or most modern PC.
What's your refresh rate?
144.
God damn it.
That's why I bought this monitor. And honestly,
is it 4K HDR 144?
No, it's not 4K. It's 1080p 144 HDR.
Okay.
If it were 4K, it probably would have been a $600 monitor or something like that. But yeah, that's the one concession. But my graphics card isn't nearly, it's not a 3060 for sure. It's like the 20 series. So it ain't gonna be running 4K at 144. So it wouldn't matter either way.
Dude, I honestly like I was worried when I got this because like I always told myself, like, I've always wanted a gaming PC. Parents would never get me one growing up. They were just like, all you need a computer for is fucking homework. My dad is homework. The epitome of like, what, you need something besides Excel?
You're texting your girlfriend inside Excel?
So I never had a gaming PC growing up. But I always wanted one because I always, like, growing up, I had all the consoles, but then I had friends who had all the games that I couldn't play.
Yeah.
And I always told myself, like, I will get a gaming PC eventually.
Yeah.
And then I finally got to the point where I just was, I don't know have I told the story of how I got this PC or how I.
You told me personally, but not
on
the podcast.
But have I talked about it on the podcast at all?
No. Because last time we recorded, you didn't have a PC. So
yeah, I know I didn't have one, but I might have already bought it because I waited for this thing forever.
Oh, you might. Yeah, I think you actually might have told something.
So
tell it again.
Yeah. So basically, I was just scrolling on Facebook one day, and one of my friends from Savannah, I used to live in Savannah, he posted on Facebook that he just happened to have several 30 series graphics cards. Yeah, he actually bought one of those scalper bots that like can like just buy up stock.
Mm-hmm.
And when you buy one of those scalper bots, they also give you access to like scalper Discord, which he showed me as well. Dude, scalper Discord's crazy.
Yeah, I bet.
I seen it. Dude,
I can't even
these
imagine.
guys. These fucking
these guys,
fucking assholes, dude.
You got like a
Not Caleb, not Caleb. My buddy
Oh, yeah.
Caleb is an awesome because he actually is not scalping to make profit. He is using the scalper bot to buy them and then sell them. He literally sold me this PC at cost. I saved $2,000 buying this PC.
100%, because
from
what
him.
you paid for that PC, you would have just gotten for that video card.
Yeah. He hooked me the F up.
But these other guys, these fucking guys,
these other guys,
these fucking
dude,
guys.
he showed me, he was like, look, this is the most recent post on the Discord. And he showed me the most recent one. And it was a guy walking through a warehouse of pallets of PS5s. Yeah. How shitty is that?
Like, here's the way that I feel about this. So, like, I get that. Listen, make your bucks, whatever. Like, I don't really care about that. It's not me. I wouldn't do it. Do what you got to do. I have a friend that her boyfriend does it. I'm not a huge fan of that, but whatever.
Dude,
you do
the
your
the scale that these guys are doing it at is insane.
Right. That's what bothers me, is that like let the people, like, if the market were able to like saturate first and then you wanted to do it, I feel like I would be okay with that. But you're really just ripping off like people who don't know any better, because
eventually you're going to be sitting there with a warehouse full of PS5s.
Right, exactly. Like, eventually, well, probably not anytime soon, but like, eventually the ball is going to drop and you're not going to be able to do that stuff anymore. There's got to be a way to, I mean, maybe not the warehouse situation. I don't know how you fix that, but like the scalper bot situation, why has technology not caught up to the point to where that is no longer a fucking thing? Like, I just don't understand how these bots are scraping these sites and getting these things that regular human beings just can't get. Like, people sit with Wario 64 on their phones trying to get PS5s or 3080s all day long, and they have no luck whatsoever because these bots are scraping up everything. And it just, like, that shit drives me nuts, dude. I just don't like it. I don't like that.
It sucks. And that's the only reason I don't have a PS5 right now, is because I don't have the time or the energy to sit there and watch a PS5 notification account like it's like my life savings on the Dow Jones market.
Right.
No, I don't have time for that. I ain't got time for that. I got other stuff to do. And like, if somebody, I've got a friend of mine here in Colombia, actually, who for some reason, like, God bless this man, he enjoys finding PlayStations, buying them, and then selling them at cost to friends.
Mm-hmm. I can see that. It's like a Robin Hood almost type thing. Like,
yeah, like he sent me a Snapchat the other day, and actually, so he sent me a Snapchat the other day of, he's like, oh, I got another one, and it's like a PS5 disc. And I was like, ooh, sell it to me. And he's like, I already sold it to this other guy. Sorry. I was like, all right, well, hit me up next time. So,
yeah.
But like, like that's the extent of my research.
Yeah.
I'm not gonna go out of my way for that. Are you serious?
Yeah. It's one of those things where you either, like, you're into the chase and the grind of that stuff, or you're just like, I'm not going to engage with this shit at all. I find
it completely absurd that that's where that market is.
It is completely absurd. There is no other words for it. It should not be this way. It should be, there should these companies that sell this shit should have devised a plan to get around. Hire these guys that are making these bots, hire them to devise a plan against the bots. That's what you need to do. Honestly,
but dude, you understand that that's just like, they are probably all about these guys, because it's literally, those guys are buying up their stock, and then it's also creating more demand for their product. So like, and then also there's a shortage of materials to make their product. So they've got demand up here, supply down here. Like, it's basic.
From the manufacturing side, the people who are making this stuff, like maybe Sony and GeForce and all those, and Nvidia, those guys, you're right. But the Walmarts and the Best Buys, they don't want you to just buy that one product. They want you to buy a cart full of stuff. So for them, they are the ones who need to figure this shit out. And they do want to figure this shit out, because it does hurt their bottom line.
You know what they do? They have now created, you know how there's like everything is on a subscription base now.
Yeah.
Now even Walmart and Best Buy, in order
Yeah.
for you to get into
The queue.
possibly being able to get
not
a
even
PS5,
a guarantee, just the possibility.
you have to pay a subscription fee just to be able to get in line.
And let me clarify, that is not what I'm talking about. That is not the answer.
But
but
that's their answer, and that's making them more money.
It is making them more money. I think that's shitty because it's just if you were guaranteed, you're like, hey, I signed up for the Best Buy like Game Pro program or whatever the fuck they call it, and you're guaranteed like, hey, within like the next time one of these drops, you're guaranteed a spot. Okay, I'm fine with that. But all you're guaranteed is a chance to get in line. That is not enough. What they need to figure out is how you give someone like a queued ticket. I get that's the only way I can think to describe it, where like your IP is assigned to this, you were here for however long before the drop happened. The drop happens, you're guaranteed your place in line as if you were physically in line at a GameStop or something like that.
And then if the product runs out at that point, then the line stays. You were there, and then next time it rolls out, you're gonna get your shit. But that's not how it works.
That isn't how it works, and that's
it's honestly, I think it is all against. And I know this sounds like some like just like conspiracy, but like no, I really think it is. They don't care. They don't care because it helps their bottom line for people, for all of us to have to subscribe to their shit to possibly get it, and then we have to stay subscribed to possibly get it again. And then stay subscribed to possibly get it again when we don't get it every time. I haven't subscribed at all.
They might not care right now, but this is what happens in these things. And this is the reason like certain apps or tech industry things take off, because just like with taxis and then Uber, somebody's going to devise a plan where they don't deal with this shit anymore. Do you know what I mean? Like somebody's going to come up with a solution where this does not happen. And then that buying that marketplace is going to be the de facto marketplace from here on out. So just like before Uber, everybody had to use taxis. Now no one uses taxis. Everybody uses Uber. That's what's going to happen with this kind of stuff, because somebody is going to devise a plan where this is no longer an issue. And then that will become the way that people deal with these things from here on out. And that's why I think these companies need to get off their ass and do something about it. Because I think you're right. I think they don't have an incentive to do it, because either way they're selling out every single time something drops. But at the end of the day, when somebody figures out a better solution, everyone's going to migrate from that platform, and they're not only going to lose the money from those sales, they're also going to lose the money from that subscription service, because ain't nobody going to be doing that stuff when somebody else figures out a better way to do it at no cost whatsoever. And that is the issue. So, it is what it is. I hate that that's how the market is, but I need to go get another beer. So,
all right,
let's take another break.
Take a quick break.
We're going to be back to talk about some actual video games here in a second. And we'll see you in just a bit. Yeah. Welcome back to the Gaming and Drinking Podcast, episode 12. We are back from break, and I'm starting on a new beer. Adam is drinking the Bourbon County still. This is, I can't get that. It's a Sun Lab. A Sun Lab. I really like this brewery. They do very cool stuff. Apparently Sun Lab is out of Miami, but this was brewed at Westbrook, which is in Charleston for people who don't live around here. This is a pastry stout. It's called Shadows Hanging Over. It looks like this one they did a year ago called The Dark Side, which is one of my favorite beers I've ever had. The can looks the same. It's kind of the same style. Pastry stout with cocoa nibs, coconut, and milk sugar. Now, I'm not a big coconut person, but usually in beer, can't really taste it. So,
I mean, if you've got cocoa nibs and milk sugar, I feel like that will balance that out pretty well.
Yeah. We'll see. And it's also APV. It is 9%.
There you go.
So now I'm getting up there in Adam territory.
There you go.
All right. So now that we're about an hour and a half into the show, we're going to get to what you've been playing. We've been playing a lot of stuff in the interim between the last show and now. We're just going to hit some highlights. We're not going to go over absolutely everything, but we have both played a couple of things. So why don't you start with one of the ones that we've been playing.
Okay. So I think we should go with the one we've been playing most recently. Which was Portal 2.
Yeah.
So
the newest of video games.
Yeah. So now, I mean, honestly, it's not the newest, but it is one of the best. And I feel like that's just objective.
Everyone talks about all the new video games. We could talk about the good video games here.
We're going to talk about Portal 2 because Portal 2 is fucking great.
Yes.
And I actually, so one of the first games I downloaded when I got this new PC, I was so excited just to be able to play all these games that I haven't had the opportunity to play before, which obviously Portal and Portal 2, they were both on Xbox and 360. I played them on those, but
was Portal 1 on 360?
No. It was on the red box or orange box.
Was Portal 2 on? I think Portal 2 was on the orange box, wasn't it?
I think Portal and Portal 2 were on the orange box. Yeah. But anyways, I played both Portal and Portal 2 on the Xbox series of consoles. I don't know which one I played them on. But I have not been able to go back and just download games that I have not been able to touch in a long time because Portal 2 I don't think is available on Xbox anymore. And hasn't been.
Portal 1 was part of the orange box. Portal 2 was a standalone. Like,
okay. Yeah. So
but they were both on the Xbox.
So yeah, but they're not available on Xbox platforms anymore.
Right. I think we talked about this when we were, because I was like, man, I love the orange box, and you just can't buy that thing anymore, and it's just not available.
So I haven't been able to play Portal in a long time, and that's one game that like I loved. I absolutely loved Portal and Portal 2. Yeah. And I haven't been able to play them in a long time because I've been on the PlayStation ecosystem, and even if I was on Xbox, I wouldn't have been able to download them again. Mm-hmm. So one of the first games I downloaded was Portal, beat that in like a day and a half.
Yeah, and the first one is very short.
And then got on Portal 2 and started playing that solo, and then told Travis I was playing that solo. And then neither of us had played, like we had both played through Portal 2, but neither of us had played Portal 2 multiplayer.
Right.
And so we, for the last like probably 2 weeks, have been playing Portal 2 together. The multiplayer on Portal 2 is amazing. It is absolutely one of the most fun experiences multiplayer that I've had in a very long time.
Yeah.
Because it's Portal puzzles. You know, if you've played Portal, you know. If you don't, I will explain it quickly. Basically, you get 2 portals. You shoot one in one wall. You shoot one in the other wall. You can walk in one and you walk out of the other one. And it's mind-bending, and it gets really, really heady, really, really fast.
Yeah.
And so having 2 people doing it, it gets even headier because then there's 4 portals involved and there's forced cooperation. You absolutely have to work together, or else it's not going to work.
This game would almost 100% not work without voice chat if you try to do it. Like there's a ping kind of, but when you're working the solution
I can't imagine trying to play this without voice chat. I would murder myself.
I'm so glad that I never played this in the original incarnation, because I don't get on voice chat except with people I know, and I didn't know anyone that played this back in the day like I did. But this experience, like, because you're not just you're coming to the solution together. Like you're not just like one person doing something. Like it really is a melding of the minds. And when you have that eureka moment, it is one of the most satisfying things in video games. I think
it's great.
That you can do.
It's great because like there will be like one puzzle that like I have no idea what the hell is going on, and Travis will be like, "Oh wait, no, you need to shoot your portal over there, and then I need to bounce off of this, and then the ball's going to land over there, and then I'm going to bring it over this way, and then I'm going to drop it in there, and then we're done." And then the very next puzzle, I will do that exact same thing. And it's just like, it's fucking great.
It's kind of an amazing achievement of design that some of them seem like that number 3 on the bonus stages that we were just doing was like, I mean, it basically melted both of our brains. And granted, we've been playing Portal 2 co-op for about 3 hours at that point, so maybe that had something to do with it. But like, it was basically melting our brains. And then we finally got the solution, and it wasn't even like one of those that we could replicate. I think we accidentally got you up to that pledge the first time. And then when we finally got this, it's like, no, just hop down here. And then you did it, and we got it like instantly. And it was like one of those things where like, I couldn't explain that to the audience right now if I even tried, you know what I mean? But if you're being in that world with the other person, you're both like, oh, why don't we try this? Why don't we do this? Why don't we do this? And you're just constantly doing things and opening up new avenues of like puzzle exploration that without each other there, you never would have come to. The ones in the single player are designed for one person. So you kind of get this like real, there's like a definitely a sense of satisfaction there, but it's not like doing it with your friend, which is like this whole other level of eureka.
The cooperation and communication that game brings, like just organically, is absolutely amazing. Like,
it's unparalleled. There's nothing else like it.
I really think that whenever me and you are like in a level together, like whenever I'm stumped, I kind of just think Travis is probably going to figure this out.
Right.
And then when you're stumped, you're probably thinking the same thing.
Yeah.
And then
I'm gonna let Adam handle this one.
So like then we figure it out, and like it's just like fuck yeah. And then like one of us will feel fucking like a genius for a minute, and then it's like, okay, next turn, like as soon as I figure one out, I like it literally takes everything you have to figure it out, because these puzzles are so ornate and they're so
well designed.
Like they're so well designed that like but once it clicks, yeah, you know exactly what you need to do.
Right.
And
that's the achievement of design that I'm talking about. Like once you know what it is, like it's like boom. And then there are other times which I don't, we talked about this. I don't know if it's like actually a thing that's in the game that you can do, but sometimes you feel like you're cheating a little bit, or like you're cheating the system. And that feels really fucking good. Like
we did that a few times at the beginning, where we would like shoot a portal like to a corner where it's like, I don't know this is supposed to be how that's supposed to work, but it like works for us. It would literally, like, I think there was one in particular where it's like you're supposed to carry a cube across a chasm with maybe like one platform in the middle. It was the river going around, and there were like 4 walls on the other side that we didn't even touch any of those walls. We just went straight up. and like I told you, I was like, there's like 4 walls over here that we didn't even touch. We didn't even look at those walls. And you're like, yeah, we're just gonna keep going. We're just gonna keep going. Like that kind of like ability, even if that's the way they designed it like that, like to make you feel that way, even if that's the case, I works. Still feel good about it. It works. I still feel really good about it. Yeah, exactly. That is a great video game. I am so surprised, having played this co-op with you now, that they haven't broken that off and made it like a live service game. Because if they would just like a Wordle, like some kind of like everyday puzzle. I haven't touched Wordle. Yeah, I haven't either. But I'm saying like, okay, so in my world, imagine there's a Portal game that every day they give you a new co-op puzzle that you do with your friends. That would be great. Amazing. Like I would subscribe to that. You know what I mean? Like I'd pay $1.99 a month or whatever the hell. Like they could make some money. I am so surprised, even if it wasn't that, even if it was just like a Portal 3 or like a Portal co-op separate campaign. Why have they not done that? Does Portal have what's it called? Steam Workshop integration? Yeah. I am not sure. I'll have to look into that. If it does. I wonder if people can make their own maps. Like that would be cool. Also, I think that would be a lot of we'll have to look into that. But even so, like, why has Valve not made a Portal 3? Like, come on, make a Portal 3. It would literally print money. Like, Portal 2 was a gigantic success. I don't understand why you haven't made a Portal 3. Orange Box, dude. Orange Box, I think, blew up the market. Like, yeah, Counter-Strike, one of the first instances of Counter-Strike on a console was the Orange Box. It's one of the most successful games of all time. Why the hell have you not made a Portal 3? Can I tell you something? When I bought Orange Box, I don't think I ever opened Counter-Strike.
I literally never did either. Cheers.
all I opened was Portal because I was like, ooh, I can play Portal on Xbox now.
Okay, so we've been playing Portal 2 together. That was great. We have also been playing another game that Adam likes quite a bit. It isn't really my jam. I appreciate what it's doing, but it's not my thing. And that is Nobody Saves the World. This is a top-down Zelda-esque RPG adventure game that you play as a guy who's got no face, basically, is the best way to put it, I guess. His name is Nobody.
I mean, you got holes.
You got holes for eyes. And the reason he looks that way is because he just inhabits these other forms. You get, like, I think the first form you get is a rat, and then you become a soldier, a guy with a sword, and then an archer, a ranger character, I think. And you're basically leveling up these forms by completing these various quests. It's very grindy, and it makes the grind fun. They give you these little tasks that you complete over each dungeon, and then you level up your character as you go. You unlock new abilities that you unlevel, and you are I mean, when I say constantly, you are constantly unlocking or quest meters are filling up.
Whether it's a new form to take, or whether it's a new attack that your current form can get, or whether it is leveling up the current attack that your current form has, you are always leveling something up. And
that meter is constantly ticking.
Oh, there's so many meters.
They're always going up.
They're always leveling up. I'm always leveling up, dude. And that's one of my favorite things about games is like the skill tree. And this skill tree is ever evolving, because when you even if you're not leveling up your own character skill tree, you will unlock a new character who has his own skill tree that then you can combine with your current character skill tree. And then there are all these challenges that involve say, like, you've got, so there are several different types of damage you can do. You've got like poison, light, heavy,
damage over time,
sharp, and you've got challenges for doing each type of damage with each type of character. But whenever you first unlock a character, they only do one, maybe two types of damage.
Yeah, usually one ability is unlocked at the offset, and then you are trying to level up and get the second ability, which will then unlock challenges for that ability, which will then feed back into the original ability and give you more challenges for that, which will then unlock another ability for that particular character type.
Dude, it's so good. It's so good.
It's basically
the grinding, but it's not. It's grinding, not painful grinding.
It's grinding made fun. The grinding is the point of the game. That is it. This treadmill of things that you're doing is literally the point of the game. I don't remember who said this, but somebody was like, it's like an idle game that you're not idle doing. You know what I mean? Like the meters are constantly going up, but you're actually doing stuff instead of, just watching.
Yeah, if you just sat there, then the meters wouldn't go up. But as long as you are looking at what your goal is, as long as you're trying to work toward that goal, that meter is always going to go up.
There's basically nothing.
Eventually, like right now, I think where I'm at, there's like, I've got like probably 30 different, literally 30 different tasks that I'm supposed to be doing. And pretty much no matter who I've got probably 12 or 13 different characters. Whoever I'm working with, I can do something to level that up quickly. Like, and the thing that sets this apart from other grindy games is the clip at which like you get new stuff. Cause like it's fast. It's quick. Like you do it and then you got something else to grind. And then
I feel like you're constantly hitting that menu button and going to the menu and like clicking the done, you know what I mean? I don't know what you're hitting the button that says I did this, and then it pops and it gives you the thing, and then it pops a new quest on top of that. You're constantly going to the menu and doing that. You're
so then whenever you do the thing and you finish that quest to pop the new quest, you can either keep going on this quest line or go to this other quest line that just opened up. But if you keep going on this one and pop another one, then another one's going to pop up here and another one's going to pop up here. So it's like, it's a branching tree that like just seems infinite. I know it's not, but like the amount
possibilities seem
the
infinite,
amount
yeah.
of branches and the amount of combinations of abilities and powers that you can combine, because once you unlock abilities with one character or one form, you can then slot those into any other form.
So have you leveled anyone up to completion yet?
I have not. The reason for that, though, is because once you get your character to level B, as far as I've seen, once you finish all the quests for that form, they're no more quests form. So like I can't continue to level that character to level A.
So I think
I have to get to a certain point in the story before I can level that character to level A. And I think once I level that character to level A, I think that the customization options for all of these characters is pretty much going to be endless. Because right now it's literally like if I have a dark character, it's asking me to do light damage. If I have a light character, it's asking me to do strong damage or sharp damage.
It wants you to do like the opposite of everything that you have on that character to like expand it or whatever.
Yeah, and not necessarily the opposite. Like it's just a fun way. Like the tutorialization of it is built into the game. Like it's telling you like, hey, combine this with that, and then you can do like overtime. Like if you combine some types of damages, like the stacks of damages that you can do are incredible. And so like if you have a character that builds dark damage or that poisons someone, and then you also have damage that slows them, you can just basically stop them in their tracks and then they'll just die where they're standing.
Right.
But you wouldn't know that, but they tell you to do that. They'll be like, take your poison character, add some slow to them, and then there you go. And so they're trying to tutorialize that in quests.
Yeah.
And once I think you get through all those quests, it's just going to be like, do whatever you want.
Right.
And I think once I get to that point in the game, it's going to be a lot of fun. And I know we both listened to the Firescape cast, and Dan Reichert's talking about like his praises of this game. And I really think that I am going to get to a point where I am just like a crackhead trying to figure out how to sell a CD player.
Yeah. This game.
I'm gonna come by. Listen, you want a $5 special? I'll give you dark damage. I'll give you light damage.
This game didn't exactly click for me. I see why people like it. It's not my thing. But I'm glad that you are enjoying it. Another game that we have both been on was Death's Door. That is another top-down game. This is more isometric, I guess. Very Zelda-esque, even more so than Nobody Saves the World. And also a lot of Dark Souls, because you've got like a 3-button combo. You have like the dodge roll. It seems it's built around combat.
You are literally gathering souls, and you will lose them if you die.
And by souls in this one, he doesn't mean like the currency of Dark Souls. Like you're literally reaping souls because you are a like minion of death, I guess. I don't even know how to explain it. You're a bird, you're a crow, and you're
a reaper.
Yeah, and you're reaping souls, which you can then use as a currency. So it is very Dark Souls.
Yeah, but and when I can't remember. Can you actually pick your souls back up after you lose them? I think you can.
I don't think that you actually lose them when you like die. I think you just go back to the starting point. Because I think that you like, I haven't died but like twice, so I don't really know. But I think you just go back to like I think the detriment to dying in this game is getting back to where you were, not exactly getting back and gaining your experience back. Because I died on a boss character one time and I had to go all the way back from that that like central room, which is very like bureaucratic, where there's like people behind typewriters and stuff.
Oh yeah.
And then you go through the door and you're in like a color. So we should say the color palette in this game. So you start off and it's like completely black and white, except for your red ass sword. And then you're in this like bureaucratic. They make death very like systematic. So you're like, all right, but you're tasked for getting this soul right now. So you have to go out and find that. It's almost like a boss rush game because there's not a whole lot of enemies in between the bosses. Like it's basically just you go here, you fight this boss, you go here, you fight this boss. And the first one I died to.
I mean, there are a good bit. If you're going around and trying, there's a lot of exploration to this game.
Yes, a lot.
And if you are trying to explore the whole map, then yeah, there are a lot of enemies. They are easy to kill, but they're there.
You'll come across enemies, but that doesn't seem to be the focus of the game. The focus is definitely the bosses. I guess that's what I mean by it's kind of like a boss rush game. Because the enemies that you fight, like at least the ones that I fought so far in the game, they're not really challenging. Like they almost die after every 3-hit combo. And then I think as you develop your character over time, so everything's really expensive in this game. I don't know if you noticed that, but like the upgrade ability cost is pretty expensive. And it has like a very distinct art style that I like. I don't know that I'm going to stick with it though. It's just not, it hasn't grabbed me yet the way that I kind of hoped it would. I love Dark Souls type games and I love Zelda games, but it just hasn't grabbed me the way that I hoped it would yet. I don't know how you're feeling about it.
I mean, I've enjoyed the different abilities that I've gotten. Yeah, they take a lot to get. But also just the fact that you're playing as a bird. You are a crow. I don't know if we've mentioned that yet, but
we did.
Okay. You're a bird.
Mm-hmm. You are a bird.
I have a big love-hate relationship with birds.
Birds don't exist, so it's okay.
I have a big love-hate relationship with birds. I love them. I hate them. They're intriguing and terrifying. Mm-hmm. And
you run the effing birds account? Is that you?
No, but I probably should. Dude, honestly, I have so many stories I could say about birds.
There's some childhood trauma coming out here, I feel like.
No, like 30-year-old trauma. I got chased by a mockingbird for like a half a mile.
I'm sorry, a mockingbird?
Yeah.
Those are like 3 inches tall.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah.
Okay.
This motherfucker dive bombed me.
Uh-huh. And what'd you do?
I ran, threw rocks at it. I was okay. So I was jogging. It was when I was living in Lugoff. So it was like October of last year or something.
You were yogging.
It was like I was yogging on a course that is for yogging.
Okay.
It was a trail like area.
So you're saying a course for jogging, not a course for fucking birds.
Not a course for fucking birds.
Okay.
Wait, fucking birds?
No, not fucking birds. Fucking birds, not fucking birds. Not
no, nobody.
No courses
no
are
course.
for that. Maybe in Florida, but not here.
Nobody's fucking birds.
Nobody's fucking. But I'm saying not for birds, not for fucking birds, just for humans.
No, the birds can live there too. I don't have a problem.
No, but I'm saying this is for jogging in peace, not for birds to like maybe harass you.
Not
this isn't birds. This isn't a bird habitat. Like
the birds,
you're not coming.
It's a bird habitat. It's a squirrel habitat. It's a raccoon habitat. It's a beaver habitat.
What I was getting at is that you're not disturbing their ecosystem.
No, I'm not messing with anything, dude. I'm just jogging. What I was getting at. I'm just jogging, just making my way, just downtown. Having a day. I was on a little jog. And I was having fun. And then I was like straight ahead. I looked straight ahead and there was a fucking like oak tree. And this fucking mockingbird out of nowhere just like is standing on like the edge of the tree, just like screaming at me. Like I know he's not screaming into the distance. He's literally staring at me, screaming at me. And I was like, basically. And I was just like, well, I have to come towards you because that's where the trail goes.
Right.
And then like, I got like the trail went like right under that branch and then took a right. So I get there and then I take the right And then this bird just dive bombs my ass. And like, and I'm like, what the fuck? He's like, fucking coming at me from behind. And I'm running on like a gravel path. So I pick up like a handful of gravel and I throw it at him. And then he goes back in the trees. And I just keep jogging. And then about 5 seconds later, he comes at me again.
He's back.
He's so I'm just like I'm throwing gravel at this bird, dude.
This sounds, you know what this sounds like? This sounds like an Always Sunny like scenario where it's like Charlie is like, I'm going running, but this fucking bird, like you won't believe that this bird like wouldn't stop fucking with me.
He hated me. So I end up literally getting chased by a mockingbird for like a half mile. And I still had another half mile to mile left to run, but I was done being abused.
So you turned, the bird won, you turned around?
I left.
Wow. The bird won.
Dude, he would not stop.
So no wonder you have such a complicated feeling about birds. And
I mean, even before that, I've never been a fan of geese.
And I know we have discussed this on the podcast and also while we were running at the Riverwalk. You think geese are evil, which is like the weirdest thing I've ever heard in my entire life. But
also pelicans.
Well, I didn't know that. I didn't know you hated pelicans too. That's a weird.
Fuck pelicans.
So is there a bird that you do like a sparrow?
I like a hummingbird.
You just said the hummingbird attacked you.
No, mockingbird.
Oh, it was mocking. I got you. Okay.
Yeah.
Okay.
And he was mocking me, that fucking asshole.
All right. Moving on from Adam's bird trauma, which is apparently a lot deeper than any of us thought it was. We have. All right.
If you know, you know.
I guess so. I guess that's true. I have been playing a little game called the Hitman Trilogy. This was always a game that I think you and I have been intrigued by because we've seen various people we like play it. I think you said one time it's a game you like watching more than you like playing. And I think I have mostly been inclined to agree to that. Like I'd never found much enjoyment in playing it. But for whatever reason, so Hitman 3, if you boot it up and you have the content bought for Hitman 1 and 2, it just imports that stuff into your game. So
is it
you
the whole trilogy available on Game?
It is. Yeah, you can play the whole trilogy on Game Pass. So I didn't do that. I have it on PS5. The PS5 Hitman 3 client. You can download that for free. You don't get the Hitman 3 maps, but you can import all your other stuff in. So that's what I did. So I have Hitman 1, Hitman 2. And I literally blew through both those games in like 2 sittings. I was obsessed with that game. And I think it's because I really like games that set a rule set for you and completely abide by that rule set. So like, that's the reason I like Dark Souls so much. Like, you know exactly what's going to happen when you hit this button, when you do this dodge roll, when you do this. Hitman is the exact same kind of thing where you're like, okay, if I do this, this happens. If I do this, that happens, yada, yada. It's a very rule set based game. I really, really like that. And it became that game like after work when you're stressed and you're like, I just need to unwind. I would put that on and like, just chill out with that. It's the same thing I would do when I played Dark Souls. Like, it's one of those games where Dark Souls can be stressful, but because of how rigid its rule set is and how it always abides by that rule set, no matter what happens, you know exactly how you're going to be approaching the situations. And I find that very like comforting and relaxing when I'm like done with work and I want to relax. I find that like having that rigid rule set is like exactly what I want. There's no like, it almost becomes a comfort thing.
So my favorite thing about those games is the interactions that I see between, and like, let's just be real. We both are big fans of Giant Bomb and Nextlander and Fire Escape and all of those guys. And my favorite thing about Hitman was their interactions while they were playing it, and how they could make that rule set be just fucking
Ridiculous.
basically Looney Tunes.
Yes.
Like it was like they were Looney Tunesing that shit.
And so
And
yes, that
have
definitely
you found that you can Looney Tunes that shit?
100%. So like you go into a situation, you're like, I have this plan, I'm gonna do this way. Because you can do like mission stories and it kind of like guides you through it. But just like anything, the best laid plans almost always go astray. And it's in those moments of your plan going astray that you have to improvise. And that's when you come across that stuff that is like absolutely, like there was one point where I was in like a tunnel beneath a resort, and there's like a can of expired spaghetti sauce on the side. And this guy like notices me and I'm trying to get away from him, but I can't. And he's like following me, and I just turn around and peg him with the can of expired spaghetti sauce, which by the way, that's what it says on the thing. It's like can of expired spaghetti sauce. And you just peg him with it, and he just like goes down in the like most ridiculous way. And it's that kind of thing. And also like the way that you can use like remote detonated bombs. So like there's another thing where this woman I was trying to kill, she was like surrounded by bodyguards. And the only time they left us is when we went down this like long dark tunnel, but they're still looking at us. So I couldn't just like pop her or anything. So I dropped this like remote device so that when she was walking back towards them, she would come across it as she walked backwards towards those guys, but I wouldn't be near her because I was going to keep walking in the other direction. So I kept walking. She started walking back towards them. And since I'm not near her, when I've remote detonated that device and her body went flying, they have no idea that it's me. And I just walk away like I'm this like cool dude who didn't have anything to do with it. And those kind of moments are the part that is like, it's so satisfying. Just like we're talking about with Portal, just like so satisfying that you can pull that stuff off, that rule set allows you to do that kind of stuff. So that's the game I've been playing. I played through 1 and 2 in, like I said, 2 sittings, and I'm going to play 3 whenever it goes on sale again. I'm going to buy it on PS5 because I only have the client for it. I don't have the actual maps.
Well, isn't it a free PS4 game this month?
No, not Hitman. Not that I know of. Maybe.
The Hitman trilogy.
Oh, that's free on Game Pass.
Shit. Excuse me. I'm sorry, Game Pass. Another reason that like I haven't bought a PS5 yet, and I've got this, like, I can play the Hitman trilogy.
I can play through all the games right now. Yeah.
Without paying a dime.
If I could save my progress over, I would just do that, but I don't think there's a way to do that.
I'm sorry. Sinus infection. Hey, I found a couple emails that we got.
Okay.
So
let's hit it.
We got John from Illinois. And by the way, I'm just making this up. We don't have any emails.
Okay.
But I have a couple of questions that I'm going to throw out there that I think would be fun. So if you have a question for us, send them to gamingindrinking@gmail.com. We will gladly answer them. But I just have a couple questions that I think would be fun. What is the game that you think you have spent the most time playing in your entire life?
Okay, so I know the answer to this because I just sat down. The most that I've ever
You didn't
played...
just sit down. You've been sitting down for like 3 hours.
Well, okay, but I just sat down. I was looking at it before because I was going to talk about this game. In single player, the most I've ever spent with one game is Persona 5 Royal. I am over 100 hours. I just beat the main campaign, but now there's like the spring semester they added in the Royal version that I have to go do now. I've never put more than 100 hours into one single player game in my entire life. It's still fun. It's still satisfying, but now I'm like, okay, I'm going to take a break because it's like a semester now.
I did that same thing with Final Fantasy 15. You didn't put 100 hours into Final Fantasy 15?
No, I put like 70 hours into it, I think.
Okay.
I didn't do the post game content though. Like once it changed, you know how the title screen changes when you beat it to the like really pretty white with what's her name on there with Noctis.
I didn't play shit. As soon as I beat it, I was done.
Oh yeah, I beat it in like 70 hours. But they unlocked some post game content where you can like go to this like sewer thing and like I tried to do.
I know exactly what you're talking
know what
about.
I'm talking about?
I think I did.
I tried that sewer shit, and, I was
there's like
this
the slimes and all that shit down there. Yeah,
I hated it. I was like, I'm not doing this. If it was like in the open world, I'd be all about that. But like they're like, no, this mega dungeon beneath the sewer, which is just like a reskin of the sewer that you do like 4 different times throughout the game.
Yeah.
And I was like, nah, I'm not doing that. But I really like that game, and I think it doesn't get enough credit. But
Final Fantasy 15, I think, is one of the best Final Fantasies. I'm not going to say it's the best Final Fantasy, but I think it's one of the best Final Fantasies.
I very much enjoyed my time with that game. But I know the game that I've actually put the most hours into, it is not going to be surprising, is Apex Legends. I have put so much time into that game. Even multiplayer games that I was obsessed with when I was a kid, I just never stuck with like I have. Like even GoldenEye, you think about how many times you played that with your friends and stuff, but how many times have we sat around playing Apex for like 4 or 5 hours at a time, like 4 days a week? You know, I just have never had that game. And in 2021, PlayStation told me that I put over 200 hours into that game, which is insane. Yeah.
That's crazy.
Yep. And what about you?
So I already said, I think I put over 100 into Final Fantasy 15.
Mm-hmm.
And that was a culmination. There was a whole bunch of reasons that happened. Personally, I was just sitting at home a lot, and Final Fantasy was a way for me to escape reality at that time. And that game was so good at it. Fuck, that game was good. But as far as I think the game that I have put the most time into, it's either Apex Legends with you, because obviously we played that a bunch together, or Super Smash Brothers Ultimate.
Oh yeah, I think your Smash Brothers counter on the Switch is like over 200 hours now at this point.
It might be, but dude, so last week I went to Nashville and I took my Switch and my right Joy-Con doesn't work.
Nintendo wants you to buy a new Joy-Con, bro.
This is the third right Joy-Con.
Oh, the second PS5 controller I bought now has drift, but on the left stick. Controllers just used to, back in my day, controllers just used to work. You know what I'm saying? What is this drift shit?
Is it because like, were they not digital sensors before? Were they?
No, they're literally analog. That's what they're analog sticks.
I know they're analog sticks, but they're digital sensors underneath that sense the movement of the analog stick. Back then, I think it was more analog than it is now.
Probably. I don't know anything about that stuff, but it's crazy to me that these newer consoles that we put, like especially the PS5, I've had 2 controllers now that have one stick on the right, one on the left, where my controllers just don't work. I mean, it still works, but like just doesn't work like you're supposed to.
That's bullshit. You
crazy.
paid way too much money for that shit.
Yeah, it's nuts. You know, I remember buying a I think I bought 2 Super Nintendo controllers back in the day, and they worked for like 15 years at a time. I could still pull my Super Nintendo out, and it would still work.
Yeah, because it's a fucking D-pad. Like that's the thing, is like back then it's just one switch. It's like one switch that you literally just press down. It's
and go.
And there's also no like feather to it. There's
a lot of like extreme movement detection.
It's just down, up. It's not slightly down, slightly up.
The center of the D-pad, all that stuff.
Yeah.
All right, so I think we're gonna wrap it up here.
Let's do it.
We'll probably talk about this next week. We've both been playing a lot of Halo. I think we're gonna play a little bit of Halo now. We really like that game. We'll have more to say about it next week, I think. But for now, this has been your gaming and drinking cast. I hope that you join us next time for some more booze and some more games. I'm Travis Casey, and
I'm
this
Adam
is-
Gogan.
and we will see you next time.